¡Vamos! Ahora sí que es verdad, chicos. Volumen a tope. Volumen a topísimo. 3 minutos. No le voy a subir. Ahora mismo no se lo voy a subir porque me parece que es una tontería por el momento. Al minuto se lo subo, vale. Porque ya está el venteo. Ya tiene mucho venteo. Pero se les va la resolución, Oye, ¿quién anda por ahí? ¿Quién anda por ahí? ¿Quién anda por ahí? ¿Quién anda por ahí? Déjame, este es el programa que yo quiero. Ahora sí, chicos. Aprovechar porque ahora está en Full HD. Y este sí es verdad. El lanzamiento anterior nos trolearon con todas las letras. Quedan 2 minutos, Por favor, que vuele. ¿Qué va a pasar? ¿Qué va a pasar? ¿Va a haber lanzamiento? ¿No va a haber lanzamiento? ¿Va a explotar? ¿No va a explotar? 2 minutos. Bueno, este sí que es bonito. Pero además carga más rápido. Por favor, por favor. Ya, ahora ya se está volviendo loca la gente. Venga, 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 venga. Ahí está. Vale, subo el volumen, Subo el volumen.
And we're starting to hear some good news that it looks like winds are not going to hold us up, so there's a good chance we blow right through that 40-second hold. So we're about 1 minute and 20 seconds away. Just walking you through one last time, we're going to see the
ahora. Chicos, que queda 1 minuto 16.
Before we hit our T0.
¿Qué? ¿Qué creéis? ¿Explotará? ¿No explotará?
13 of the inners, 15 of the
¡1 minuto! ¡Oh! ¡Vamos! Sube el volumen a tope, a tope. Bueno, no, a tope, no que os quedáis sin oído. Bueno, pues estamos viendo el lanzamiento de esta Starship 3. Es la 3. 50 segundos para su lanzamiento. Por favor, no la liéis. Déjame ver que está todo en Full HD, ¿vale? Sí. Tabulo, tabulo. ¡Buah! ¡Se viene! A ver si hacen cuenta tras ellos.
Flight Director Ty Huntington telling the team we are go for launch. So 20 seconds to go.
¡Va, va, va, va!
Listen in.
12, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. ¡Madre mía, madre mía! ¡Wow! ¡Dios, qué rápido! ¡La puta! ¡Qué rápido vuela! ¡Dios! Aceleró, pero comparado con el anterior que vimos, su madre, Uy, que se va a romper la cámara. ¡Vamos! Esto no es troll, este es de verdad. Todos los motores activos. No, ¿cómo se nota? Y la cámara ya de primera.
We are feeling the rumble. We are seeing 33 out of 33 Raptor engines ignited on the Super Heavy booster.
Booster and ship, avionics, power and telemetry nominal.
Mira qué rápido. Esto va más rápido que un avión,
Continuing to get good call out.
Ya pilló los más de 1000 kilómetros por hora.
Amazing to see all 33 lit up once again.
¡Wow! ¡Wow! ¡Qué bonito! ¡Mira! ¡Qué buenas imágenes!
And passing supersonic, so we're now moving faster than the speed of sound. Getting those onboard views from the ship cameras.
¡Buah! Ahora no se le ven los motores, es lo bien que he entendido. ¡Buah! Ahí están.
Now the next major milestone is going to be a hot maneuver. Again, we're going to be doing that in just about 90
hay
seconds.
Diferencia, hay diferencia.
We're going to shut down all but the 3 center Raptor engines on Super Heavy. That'll
Por favor.
be our MECO, our most engines cut
Si
off.
es
And the
capaz
clamps
de que
holding the two
aterrice,
stages
esto es
together are
la
going to
puta bomba.
release. Starship second stage will ignite its
Aquí, a
engines.
partir
The
de aquí es lo
RVACs first.
importante.
The sea
A
levels
partir de
right
aquí es lo
after that. The sea
importante.
level engines will be splayed or just kind of pointed out at about a 15-degree
Mira, el volar
angle.
vuela de
So
puta
if you're
madre.
close and we get good tracking, you might be able to see those center right after.
40
So
kilómetros ya.
those 6 engines will push Starship off of the booster. All right, counting down now. We're going to be coming up right at around the 3-minute mark on that hot staging maneuver. Again, we'll see the booster engines start to shut down.
¡Guau!
We'll see
¡Qué
three
buena!
lights go out in the middle, and then we'll see
Vale,
the engines
se va a
ignite
quedar
on
ahora
ship,
sin
pushing it
combustible.
away.
O sea,
Now
ahora
we'll
tiene que
start
haber la
carrying
separación.
the ship into space. Booster will start to do its flip and then move
Aquí
out,
tiene que haber la
boost back burn,
separación.
setting it up
Vale, aquí
for
va.
eventual splashdown in the Gulf of Mexico.
Stage separation.
¡Oh! ¡Wow! ¡Empuja! ¡Vamos, que acelera! ¡Bueno!
Confirmed.
¡Qué guapo!
Boosters now making its way back, seeing 6 engines ignited on ship. Kate, we got a Starship on its way to space and a booster on the way back to the Gulf.
Oh man.
¡Lo consiguieron! ¡Lo sacaron fuera del planeta!
From the floor because these views are just stunning. These are live views from
¡Consiguieron sacarla fuera del
First stage is
planeta!
currently
¡Está en
performing
órbita! ¡Está por orbitar!
Good there, news informing us that the second stage or the ship, everything looking good, nominal there. First stage is currently performing the boost back burn, expecting that to last about 1 minute. That boost back burn.
¡Se están apagando los motores!
The booster back towards the coast, taking it to a landing in the waters of the Gulf
¡Qué
of Mexico.
guay!
We're only using the super heavy boosters 13 centimeters
¡LOL!
out. As whenever they relight, you'll be able to see that in the left bottom corner. Those are the ones
Pero
that
está
can
perdiendo.
go. In other words,
El otro,
move and
la otra
change
parte está
direction,
perdiendo,
in order to change the thrust to steer the first stage
Mimo.
back to Earth.
Pedazo bicho ahí en el espacio ahora mismo. Mirad por la ventana, no, no vais a poder ver.
Incredible views coming to us. Everything is looking good for both the first stage on the left-hand side of your screen or the super heavy booster, as well as on the right-hand
El
side
otro
of
no
your
cae,
screen. That is Starship, or
Que lo
we also refer
consiguieron
to
poner
that
en
as the
órbita.
ship.
Si tiran bien, lo consiguen poner en órbita.
The boost back
¡Qué
burn
puta
was the
locura,
first
macho!
of 2 burns required to return it to Earth. The next one will be the landing burn, where all 13 center engines will initially ignite and then transition into a 3-engine
Pero
burn
mira,
to
la
help
ahora
slow
está-
it down.
ahora
Just
está
as a reminder
acelerando.
of the stage 1 test objectives.
Pero el otro no le puso una cámara
we're
para saber lo
looking
que
for
está pasando.
controlled ascent, which we have so far. Stage separation, which gorgeous. We
Qué
cruised right through
fuerte.
it. As
¡Qué
well as
fuerte! 10.000 kilómetros por hora.
good news there telling us
LOL!
that the path that Starship
¡No!
is on, is good. Now Starship's second
Se-
stage
se le
is
perdió
still
una de las
firing
cámaras.
its engines, and as you heard, following planned flight path, the ship objectives, we're looking for hot staging again.
Ahora
cruising through
recupera-
that. We're looking to demonstrate controlled ascent as well as orbital insertion. Now the bottom right-hand corner of the screen shows the ship.
Esta tiene que aterrizar.
Keep an eye on those.
La de la izquierda tiene que aterrizar y
Yep, Kate, like this is just a
Whoa.
phenomenal test so far. Super Heavy is performing beautifully today. It's on its return.
No creo que vaya a
in the
aterrizar,
journey.
¿no? Va a caer en el agua.
Ship continuing to burn its 6 engines. Those
¡Qué
larger
locura,
circles,
macho!
the vacuum
¡Qué
engines,
locura!
The inner circles, the Raptor sea level engines. We're about 30 seconds away.
Miércoles.
Just under 30 seconds.
¡LOL!
From the start of the boost back burn. Excuse me, the landing burn on the booster. You can see the grid fins rotating.
¡Se mueve!
The grid fins are guiding us through the atmosphere back towards our splashdown site. Again,
No sé qué va a pasar.
For a splashdown, a soft splashdown. So for landing burn, we're
Va a
going
ir contra el agua ahora.
13 center engines light. rapidly bring down the boosters.
Va contra el agua.
And then just the three.
¡Qué buena! ¡Qué buena!
Splashdown.
¡No me lo creo!
Let's see if that'll work. We're getting a few engines.
Bueno, ahí no sabemos lo que pasó. ¡Ahí no sabemos lo que pasó! ¿Qué ha pasado? ¿Qué ha pasado? ¿Qué ha pasado? ¿Qué ha pasado?
It is still something that we're attempting to learn.
¡No! Bueno, lo han conseguido. No se levantaron las losetas.
Ship continuing to look nominal with its ascent burn. This burn lasting about 6 minutes.
No se levantaron las losetas, chicos.
And we're expecting that this burn will end just after T+8 minutes, about a minute from now.
No se levantaron las losetas.
Congrats to the team. Making it this far is farther than we've gone.
Qué bueno.
Flight 2. Just wonderful views and great engine performance from the vehicles.
¿Qué cojones?
So far, we've hit controlled ascent. We're in the middle of that right now. We demonstrated the hot staging. Kate, as you said, cruised through that. We demonstrated controlled entry of the booster.
Mira, pero...
A little short of the engine reel.
Voy, ahí se podía perder.
Now that view that we just had
Pero bueno, lo han conseguido, lo han puesto en órbita.
There you see it again. This is
Uy, ahí hubo un apagado.
Starbase. Where vehicle operators are standing by. Now, the next milestone coming up is in less than a minute. At that point, ship will...
¿Y ahora
I'm
qué?
sorry, actually, it already has.
Engine cut off.
There we go.
¡Vamos!
As you heard there, by the call-out and from the crowd behind us...
¡Está en órbita! ¡Está apagado!
Starship's 6 Raptor engines have successfully shut
¡Wow, wow, wow, wow!
for nominal orbital insertion, which is incredible. Look at these views, Dan.
I'm just completely blown away
¡Qué
right now.
puta salvajada!
What a day. Congratulations to the entire SpaceX.
¡Lo consiguieron!
This flight pretty much just
Esto
started.
es un paso muy grande,
We're farther than we've ever been before. We've got a Starship not just in space,
¿Quién está
but
llorando?
on its coast phase into space. Just to recap where we've come, and it's
Mira,
only
sombra, hay
been 9.5
sombra.
minutes. How
No
has
sé
it
por
only
qué
been
sombra.
9.5 minutes? We lifted off right on time at 8:25 a.m. We didn't have to hold.
Madre
at
mía,
our
con lo
gate at all. We had
bicharraco
33
que es,
and
y lo
33
consiguieron
Raptor
poner en
engines
órbita.
open up, and light and get
Está
us
dando
through a
vuelta,
nominal
está
ascent.
dando vuelta.
Another successful hot stage.
Ahora le
All
toca a
6
él.
engines on the ship propelling us into orbit. We did see what looked like a nominal boost back burn.
10 minutos,
And then we did make it all the way to the landing burn this time. Didn't light all the engines that we expected, and we did lose the booster. We'll have to go through the data to figure out exactly what
Pero
happened.
enseñarlo otro, a ver
obviously.
qué pasó con...
So be on the
Ahora que
lookout
vaya...
for information
Bueno.
about that. But wow, a ship in space. We've got a bunch of, as we said, ambitious objectives ahead of us.
Adiós, cámara, que...
Over the next couple of minutes,
no lo sé.
pretty much over the next
No sé ni cómo va a
hour, we're
entrar.
gonna really, we've got the ship in space. We're now going to take
Pero
advantage
bueno,
of this.
han conseguido
and try and
ponerlo ahí
learn as much as
arriba,
possible about some of the other systems, including that first ever Raptor
Joder,
rebuild in
Elon
space.
Musk.
So it's just going to be
Elon,
incredible. So
la has liado,
all of that's still to come. The mission just started, but wow, what a liftoff! What a hot stage! What an amazing sight to see Starship there in outer space.
I can't believe we're
Y esto se lo quiero dedicar a un gran compañero que nos dejó pues, el año pasado, si no me equivoco, a R-Drone, porque si él estuviera ahí, pues estaría viendo esto, increíble. Se lo dedico a él, vale.
We're not totally sure what video that we'll get, since that normally comes to us as we overfly ground stations, and we don't have a ton of those along our trajectory. But as we have video, we'll be sure to bring that to you.
Starlink may be able to bring us additional communication paths today that will allow us to talk to Starship through re-entry
Qué
with
fuerte,
no
macho.
communications blackout
Lo que
period.
han conseguido
It's a
no es tan
possibility,
fácil,
but
¿eh?
either way, we will be
A
live
saber
for
todas las
all of
toneladas que
today's
van ahí.
milestones.
No es un
And of
cohetillo
course, when
pequeño,
we
es
do
un
have views,
cohetazo.
Signal, Puerto Rico.
El cohete más grande del
especially
mundo.
like the ones that we have now, which I just cannot get over. When we have views, we will be sure to bring those to you live. But no views or no views, we'll see you back here at T plus 40 minutes.
Pez door is opening.
And there we just heard call it that Pez door is opening, so that's great.
First test.
Yeah. One of our test objectives today is to open and close that Pez door. That's where we will deploy Starlink satellites from in the future. So great news there that that test objective is already underway. So come back here, stick around
Tan
till
nervioso,
T plus 40 minutes for coverage of Starship's deorbit burn demonstration, followed by its reentry and what is sure to be an exciting
No nos dejes
splashdown.
así. Venga, reconéctate. No, 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 no. Qué cabrones. Qué cabrones. ¿Le pones música para que nos dé copyright? Buah. Increíble, ¿no? Oye, que han conseguido que volase, ¿eh? Han conseguido lo imposible. Lo casi que es imposible. Hombre, ahora a ver cuánto tardan en que baje. Subió, ahora tiene que bajar. Pero ya tenemos recorte, ¿eh? Ahora sí que tenemos recorte del todo. Increíble, increíble. Esta vez sí ha sido de verdad. Y además voló con todas las ganas del mundo, ¿eh? Os lo juro. Nunca había visto un lanzamiento tan bueno. Por favor, pido que ahora, a ver si se puede ver. Es que sigue estando en 192 kilómetros. 193. Sigue orbitando. Ahora ya está ahí. Ya está orbitando en el espacio. Qué salvajada. Pues lo consiguieron, ¿eh? ¿Qué pasa? ¿Que ahora lo van a dejar orbitando ahí? No, pero aquí el problema es... Sí, el problema es la música. La música. Qué fuerte. ¡LOL! Esto es el interior. Esto es el interior de... ¡LOL! ¡Hostia! ¿Cómo se la están sacando? ¡LOL! Increíble. Eso era la parte interior de la nave. Eso era la parte interior de la nave. Madre mía. ¿Qué? 200 kilómetros. No, yo lo que quiero saber ahora es cuándo va a caer. Tampoco tenemos un mapa. Explicaron para dónde iba a ir. Pero tampoco tenemos un mapa que nos especifique por dónde está ahora mismo. Bueno, ahí hay alguien. ¿Veis? En ese ordenador que hay ahí. Ese debe de ser que están... A ver. Ese debe de ser que está... No me deja, bueno, da igual. Eso debe de ser que está mirando dónde cayó la otra parte. Se perdió la señal. Sigue subiendo. ¡Sigue subiendo! Esto es increíble, macho. Esto es putamente increíble. Bueno. Bueno. ¡Oh! ¡Mirad! ¡Lol! Este es el interior. ¡Qué puta locura! Y además en Full HD, bueno, como los Starlink no les dé potencia, sería malo, ¿eh? Mira, 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 mira. Pero no está nada roto, no hay nada roto dentro. Es acojonante. No rompió nada. Es que parece que se le baja un poco la resolución, ¿no? No es cosa mía. A ver, yo transmito 5000. Pero esto no sabes cuánto están transmitiendo. Buah, se ven cachitos. Y esta vez no explotó nada. ¡Nada! Ahora lo que tengo que ver es cómo voy a recortar yo todo esto. Lo recorte y le hago el... No sé. A ver qué sale. Buah, es increíble. Pero no hay cámara de fuera. Claro, pero la altura sigue estando en 2.16. Está en 2.16. No, no está decelerando. Sigue teniendo música. La chica se cansó de hablar. Yo creo que la chica se cansó de hablar. No me lo creo. No me lo creo, macho. No me lo creo. Joder. Por lo han conseguido, ¿eh? Aquí está la anterior. Y lo que voy a hacer es subir 3 o 4 de esta parte. Es que este es antiguo. Pero sí, sigue dándole, sigue dándole. ¡Imágenes! ¡Guay! ¡Qué guay! ¡Madre mía! ¡Qué bonito! Un bicharraco como ese. Nah, sigue en lo suyo. A ver, deberían de funcionar los satélites, tío. Buah, este hombre va a mandar más satélites ahora que la puñeta. Que con uno de estos cargas como... A saber cuántos satélites es capaz de meter ahí. No sé quién está por ahí por el chat, pero increíble. Han conseguido lanzar la Starship por primera vez y tenerla en el espacio. Se ven imágenes muy buenas. Pero tampoco es que esté cayendo, porque o quieren dejarla orbitando, que no sé si... No, que... Va, a ver, por una parte quieren dejarla orbitar. Sí, por una parte quieren dejarla orbitar. Pero por la otra quieren bajarla a tierra, la nave. Pues de esa manera saben si va a funcionar o no. Pero bueno, lo han conseguido. Tiene narices que lo han conseguido. Lo han conseguido. Increíble. Pero bueno, ahí empieza a moverse. A ver si hay alguna imagen más, porque es increíble lo del... Ahora ya no es solo la estación espacial. Mira esto. Mira esto. Que metes a la peña ahí. Ahí no sé cuánta gente puede ir dentro. Pero creo que eran 100 personas. Aquí eran 100 personas. Eso es increíble. Machiño, esto es increíble. No voy a poner audio del directo de ellos porque ahora mismo tiene música puesta. Pero fijaros, está orbitando de perlas. Lo malo es que pierde la señal seguido, yo no entiendo. Está perdiendo la señal seguido. Guau, pero 21 minutos, Está lloviendo. No sé cuánto va a estar orbitando, pero en algún momento tendrá que bajar, ¿no? Eso es lo que yo espero. Pero como va así a veces, va y viene la cámara, pues... No sé. ¿Quién anda por ahí? A ver. Un saludito, a ver. Si quieres yo te saludo. Pero si no me hablas no te puedo saludar. Si no me hablas por el chat no puedo saludarte. Y me imagino que querrás que te salude. Buah, pues son las 2:47. Allá no sé si son 4 horas menos. Te decían que el lanzamiento iba a ser para las 5 de la mañana. Bueno. Es que si te vas a Irlanda ahora ya empieza a ser más tío. Yo lo comparo con Irlanda porque sé el cambio de hora que hay allí. ¿Y aquí cómo estáis en este lado? Que ni miré. No, ni miré. Pero muy bueno, muy bueno. Siguen con la música, ¿verdad? Sí. A ver, si tuviera los derechos de esa música, os aseguro de que no me molestaba tenerla puesta. Pero no sabemos de dónde sale esa música, así que... A ver. No hablan. No habláis. Sé que ahora mismo pues estoy tirando de imagen nada más. Ahora mismo estoy tirando de imagen. ¿Quieres que ponga un poco de música? A ver, espera. Voy a poner... Quita. Vamos a poner la que estaba. Esta. Vale, ahí. Y ya está. Y ya, ahora sí. Ahora ya tenemos música de nuevo. Y aquí. Mejor, ¿no? Si después esto lo subo... Ay, se quedaron ahí, en stand-by. Buah, increíble. Con lo que les costó. Esto todo va a estar completamente... Va a estar completamente subido. Seguramente cojo y recorto algo después de subirlo. Está empezando a cabecear, A ver si lo hacen en la media hora cae. Les costó subirlo, ¿Cuántos lanzamientos? 14. Yo lo que quiero ver ahora es si son capaces de meterle carga. ¿Serán capaces de meterle carga al cohete? Eso es una buena pregunta, Si son capaces de hacer esto, seguramente pueden meterle carga. Pero le pueden meter carga a barrer, Ya hace un buen rato que no tenemos imagen, Hace un buen rato que no tenemos imagen. A ver, que no estará cayendo. No está cayendo. Porque sigue en 2.34. Si está en 2.34, no debería haber problema. A ver si desorbita. Que hace ya un buen rato que no tenemos imágenes. Hace un buen rato que no tenemos imágenes. Si le pasase algo, que ahí desaparecía la nave. ¡Eh! ¡Imágenes! Hombre. No hay nada reventado, por suerte. Tenemos buenos problemas con eso, Tenemos buenos problemas con eso. A ver si empieza a caer. Porque yo después ya quiero descansar un rato. Esta noche seguramente pueda caer el Fortnite. Qué bueno. Es que ahora mismo ya no se están utilizando los motores. Y me imagino que algo de tendrá que quedar, porque si quiere levantar vuelo... O sea, levantar vuelo no. Si esto va... Imaginaros. Tendrían que aterrizar. No sé si van a utilizar lo que les queda. Pero a la velocidad que aprendieron me cago la... Ya empieza a haber algo de caída, 2.31. Sí, mirad, ya no está en la altura de antes, Ahora está en 2.30. Si empieza a bajar, significa que va... A ver, el escudo térmico tendría que funcionar, ¿no? Porque en realidad la estación espacial va orbitando, va cayendo, pero... Chicos, está empezando a caer. Me da la sensación de que ahora sí está empezando a caer. Sí, mirad la altura. ¿Qué tipo de música es esa? ¿Qué tipo de música es esa? Vale, está empezando a caer. Ahora viene lo difícil. Esto se revienta contra el suelo. Bueno, contra el agua. Para saber por dónde está pasando. No tenemos mapa, tenía que tener un GPS. Nosotros por lo menos no tenemos un mapa. Hay un GPS en el medio y ya está, y se puede ver. Pues mira, está volando muy bien. Pero seguramente después lo tenga que recortar, editar un poquito. 3.000 personas. 3 millones de personas. Todo. Sí, está empezando a caer. Vale, pues pasó media hora ya, del lanzamiento. Increíble. Quiero ver la parte de fuera, enseñar la parte de fuera. Quiero ver la parte de fuera. ¡No! No pongáis eso, poned la parte de fuera. ¿Estáis viendo? ¿Lo visteis? ¡Eso es! Yo quiero ver la parte de fuera. Vale, está cayendo, ¿no? Me imagino. Yo creo que lo daré en media hora y lo mandan al suelo. Vale, ahora sí está cayendo, Mira cómo ahora está empezando a caer Pues la imagen de atrás es increíble, macho. Es increíble. Pero algo de combustible le tiene que quedar, Algo de combustible le tiene que quedar. Ay, que la Tierra ahora está por otro lado. Me pasó a mí el otro día en el juego este de las naves. ¿Dónde está el suelo? Se nos va la conexión. ¡Era visto! No, cuando empiece a hacer la caída... no sé si va a haber alguna cámara que pueda pillar la Starship bajando. Pero ahora debería de tener cobertura, ¿eh? O no, bueno. Pero están los satélites muy cerca. ¡Mirar! ¡Lol, macho! ¡Qué imagen más bonita! Buah, eso de... Esta imagen es increíble. Vale, siguen con su música. Vale, ahora se estará posicionando ya, ¿no? Porque, fijaros, solo hay una parte que tiene las losetas. La parte derecha tiene losetas, pero la parte izquierda no tiene losetas. La parte izquierda no tiene losetas. Cobertura de Starlink. Pues está más cerca de la Tierra ahora, Vaya pérdida de potencia, güey, no. Poca cosa, pero la hubo. La Virgen, chaval. Ahora me toca recortar esto. Y después si soy capaz de recortarlo... A ver. ...200 kilómetros. Como de... De una... No, iba a decir de una punta a la otra de Galicia. Eso está dentro. Desde cerca de Pontevedra hasta Lugo, 200 kilómetros. ¡Qué imagen, tío! Es que es bestial. Pero los motores tienen que estar apagados, ¿no? Es que eso es rarísimo. Pues no sé, debe... Creo que tenía micromotores. Pequeñitos del todo. No grandes como los que... para el despegue. O sea, sí, que ahí hay algo. Ahí tiene que tener unos mini motores seguro. Como los de la Dragon. Deben de ser esos mismos motores. Pues me toca subirlo 2 veces y después recortarlo. Esto es increíble. Bueno, este no tendría problema. No debería tener problemas, ¿verdad? Porque ya planea, literalmente ahora lo que necesitan es que planee. Y este no va a ser como un cohete normal y corriente. Este necesita planear y bastante. Porque en la reentrada no sé si va a hacer... No sé si va a ir en punta o no. Yo creo que ahora mira, ahora ya se empieza a ver más tierra. Ahora se ve más tierra. Pero a partir de los 100 tiene que jugar con estabilizar la nave. Si no, se va a pegar una hostia como un mundo. Y no querremos que se pegue una hostia. Yeah. Vale, darme un segundo, vengo ahora. Que no creo que vaya a caer tan rápido. Ahora va a caer de golpe. ¡Bum! Están ahí hablando. Están ahí hablando. Están ahí hablando.
Thanks to Starlink, including the PES door open close test. So that was one of our test objectives today that we met.
Phenomenal test day. Just to see booster lifting Starship to ascent, ship completing its ascent. Just one wonderful day. Kind of to recap the objectives a little bit. Booster
El humor.
its ascent.
Dios mío, cómo se te toda la cabeza, macho.
Demonstrated a successful hot staging for the second time. Booster completed the boost back burn, didn't quite accomplish the landing burn, and then had a hard splashdown in the.
Si hay que le puse la traducción a estos dos, sería sería de perla.
After the hot staging, we had a good 6-engine burn of the Raptor vacuum engines and sea level engines, and then we've commanded a number of demonstrations, including the Starlink satellite deploy demo, so the payload door, as well as a prop transfer demonstration. We do still need to do some data review on those, so as we get that data back,
Si hay que le puede poner traducción debajo, me vendía de perlas.
We are coming up on our next major milestones, which is an in-space relight of our Raptor engine for the first time, followed by re-entry and then landing in the Indian Ocean.
Incredible.
Yeah, that's right, guys. We should be just about 40 seconds away, 40 or 50 seconds away, if we do this relight demo. Do want to stress this is not a deorbit burn. In fact, it's actually going to function a little bit opposite of a deorbit burn. We're going to be raising our perigee with this burn for the lowest point of our orbit. This is just to demonstrate that we can relight a Raptor engine on ship while it's gone through a coast, while it's in outer space, while it's in microgravity.
Y esta vez es raro que la gente no hubiera venido al canal, ¿eh? Es rarísimo, porque literalmente lo único que está transmitiendo es SpaceX. Aquí directamente estamos en Full HD y podéis hablar conmigo. Habla en inglés, ese es el problema. Ese es el problema, que estos hablan en inglés nada más.
We may not do it. There is all of the guidance is loaded into Starship's computer itself, so if it doesn't see the values that it needs to, we could just skip the
Mucho aguanta en el aire.
So we are waiting to
en el
find
espacio.
out if that's going to happen or not.
¿Pero cuánto tiempo pasó desde que bajamos de los 200?
That we are coming home no matter what, regardless of doing a burn.
Sí, a diferencia de las otras naves, a diferencia de las otras naves, va a tardar muchísimo en bajar. No es, ahora fijaros la posición que está puesta. Está a la defensiva ya.
precise footprint
Entra de lado.
in the Indian Ocean.
No va,
that
de
we're
cabeza no puede ir.
for splashdown today. It does sound like we are skipping past the on-orbit relight demo this time. Again, we'll confirm all of this through our post-flight data review, but it did sound like
Increíble,
we passed
macho.
through that burn. So now that's going to start setting us up for re-entry.
Unas imágenes
Yeah, that's exactly right.
increíbles,
So
os
coming
lo
up
juro.
next
A ver
around
cómo le saco yo
39
tres o 4
minutes
clics
is
aquí,
Starship re-entry. Now, this is typically a portion of flight where we don't have communications with spacecraft because they're re-entering the Earth's atmosphere at or around orbital velocity, about 8 kilometers per second or roughly 5 miles per second. Super fast. Now, at those speeds, the spacecraft's interaction with the atmosphere results in friction and creates a plasma field around the vehicle. That blanket of plasma distorts communication frequencies, so we're basically left with a brief communications.
Ahora viene lo chungo, la reentrada. ¡Puh! Este bicharraco.
To the tracking and data relay satellite system, also known as TDRS. But if
¿Dónde está Elon?
doesn't entirely block it, that connection will be
Yo no he visto a
very
Elon
slow
en
data
ningún
rate
sitio.
and definitely too slow for any video.
But that's why Starship and Starlink are a great partnership. Starship is so big that it will leave a
Hello?
wake or a hole in the plasma field as it flies through an atmosphere. You can think of a wake kind of like when you see a boat going through the ocean. It sort of leaves
¡Oh! ¡Oh! ¡Hostia, qué imagen! ¡Oh!
great view.
Un momento. Fuera, 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 fuera. Apágate, apágate, apágate. No, apágate.
Starship's onboard videos. And so we're hoping that the
Esto es lo que yo estaba esperando.
let us, just like we're seeing
Pero
with videos now,
para ya.
see through that plasma field by maintaining a continuous communication lock with the satellites on orbit through the wake that Starship leaves behind. Now, this
Ahora
is
se verá el
the
trabajo.
second time that we're testing
Ahora se
Starlink
verá el
during
trabajo si
the
funciona
even though
o no
we do
funciona.
have these great
¿Quién?
visuals
¡Wala,
now,
chaval!
don't be surprised if we manage to get some signal hiccups through. We're still learning about what that
RTX, cuidado con el
We're
RTX.
able to get that live continuous high-speed data during re-entry.
Y vamos. Ah, mira, ahora está de pie.
Yeah, that's right. And one of the really primary reasons we want to use Starlink is to just gather as much data as possible. It's been said the data is the payload on one of
Y
these
el otro también se está viendo,
flights,
¿verdad?
where
Sí.
we're putting this flight hardware in a real flight environment, trying to learn about it as much as possible.
Oye, pues nos...
Re-entry is going to be a really critical phase of flight. We really want to know how
Ahora se viene la zona esta.
especially that
Las
heat
aletas
shield
se tienen que
as we're
mover para
going through
frenar
the
el...
hypersonic re-entry. So if something were to go wrong
Guau, qué
during this
pasada.
re-entry, we want as many paths as possible to collect that information, that data, just
Pues hay
to,
tierra ahí,
again,
hay
just
tierra.
continually feed back into the Starship program.
Oye, se está...
Each flight
La
more
están
reliable,
controlando,
more successful.
Acquisition signal, Mauritius.
Se me estoy volviendo loco, ya no sé ni dónde está la tierra. Vamos a ponerle volumen.
Now, if Starship manages to make it all the way through re-entry, we'll collect valuable data on Starship flying through the Earth's atmosphere at hypersonic speeds, meaning more than 5, or at this point, will be more than 5 times the speed of sound. Now we're watching
Vaya puto
these
cabeceo le acaba de
live
meter
views,
ahí.
HD views by the looks of it, thanks to
Creo que
Starlink.
quiero quitarla.
You can see that
Que no
the
se vea.
flaps there on the ship might be actuating.
Ahí.
Certainly some
Uy, mira las
incredible,
planchas. Las planchas están
visions
empezando a
of
deshacer.
planet Earth behind Starship. Now, we've already validated Starship's ability to fly and land
Hostia, qué bien.
at subsonic speeds. You might recall those suborbital flights from a few years ago, and you can see those.
Buenísima. Buenísima.
So getting data on aspects like heating and control while traveling way faster than
Que
we did
pero sigue
before.
pareciendo
is
que va
critical
para
to
arriba, ¿no?
Eventually bringing starships back from space for rapid
Bueno, no
release.
hay muchas
So I mentioned
pletinas
those
que...
flaps. That's one
No
of
hay,
the things
no hay muchas pletinas que estén rotas,
that enable Starship to help control
Las
itself
pegaron a
and
conciencia, me cago en la...
survive the heat of re-entry, which, like we said before, we're expecting that re-entry to occur around T plus 49 minutes. So we're getting pretty close here.
Guau, como mola lo de la cámara. ¡Hostia! Mira, 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 mira.
Part of what you're
No.
also seeing is one of the cameras, this onboard view that we have, is
Las
on
cámaras
the
se
end of the
mueven.
flap. Starship has front flaps
Increíble,
and rear
macho.
flaps in the vehicle.
Que las
So
putas
we've got
cámaras
4
se
of
mueven.
those. And
Vale,
again,
100
we can see the
kilómetros.
heat
Ahora sí que
on
estamos
those
en el...
flaps as we're starting
Mira, mira, mira,
to
mira, mira,
re-enter
mira,
the
mira,
Earth's
mira.
atmosphere. This is where the Earth's atmosphere is doing the work to slow us
LOL.
down.
Ahora.
Now,
¡Oh,
the
no!
plasma field,
Wow.
¡Oh, no!
what a view. We hope to maintain these views throughout. Starship is so big that we're hoping that the plasma field doesn't entirely blanket the entire vehicle. Right now,
Ahora sí está
the Starlinks
tocando la atmósfera.
Yeah, the Starlinks
Le está
are
haciendo
still
efecto.
communicating and still capturing the data and the video that we see here.
¡Buah!
Shiva, this is just absolutely incredible views. We've never seen
Oye, pues no
anything like this
pierde
before.
la
This is
señal, es
the biggest flying
increíble.
object ever in space.
Absolutely, Kate.
Oye, es llamativo.
And it's important
Se está
to note
calentando y no está
the
perdiendo la
ascent
señal.
burn that we did was to get us to orbital velocities, even though we were on a near
LOL.
orbital trajectory. So the heating and the loads that Starship is going through
¡Buah!
are what it
¡Buah!
was getting if it were recovering from an orbital mission. And just the fact that we have views through entry, this is incredible.
Again, this is the
¡Increíble!
and fastest that Starship has ever flown.
¡Bueno!
And you can definitely tell by the
Oye, lo está consiguiendo.
Hawthorne.
The heat shield tiles doing their work. We talked about it
¡Hostia!
earlier.
¡Alucino!
600 degrees Fahrenheit that those heat shield tiles are dissipating as we are re-entering.
Yeah, now this was one of the critical
Que la cámara sigue funcionando.
mission objectives that we were hoping to hit today. We have never, like I said before, this is the fastest and furthest that Starship has
Wow, ahora
ever
ya no-
flown. So this is the first time that we're getting to
Esto es lo que no son capaces de poner en las cámaras de
these 18,000 hexagonal
normales.
heat shield tiles are working together to protect the belly of Starship as it re-enters the Earth's atmosphere. Once again, the atmosphere is doing us a big favor here by...
¡Buah, increíble!
The atmosphere is actually doing us a huge favor here by acting as a braking system for Starship.
El sistema está
as it
funcionando,
re-enters
macho.
the atmosphere.
And that's part of the reason why the flaps are so important. We're using the body of Starship and the drag from the atmosphere to
Claro, es que
slow
esta
us
no
down
entra a tanta
to
velocidad como las
speed.
otras.
But you want the vehicle to remain stable. You want those
No,
heat
nos
shield
quedamos sin
tiles
cámara.
pointed down.
¡Nos quedamos sin cámara!
So they
¡No!
can feel the heat of the Earth's atmosphere.
¡Sí, no! ¡Ah!
And so that's the purpose that they are serving during the hypersonic phase and then again during the subsonic phase.
Absolutely. So like we said,
¡No se ve nada!
are being provided by a couple Starlink terminals that are positioned on Starship itself. As that plasma builds, we're hoping that we can bring these views back to you. But you can see the telemetry there on the right-hand side of your screen. If you watch closely, you can see the speed decelerating. Again, that's the friction
Buah, es que tiene que frenar un
of the
huevo.
atmosphere, resulting in this plasma field, or excuse me, the blanket that is potentially blocking the
Sí, pero es que tienen
terminals
las
right now.
cámaras,
So
por
we'll bring these
Dios.
views back to you if we get them. But right now, for those of you that have recently joined, Starship is currently re-entering.
No,
Earth's atmosphere.
no.
This is super exciting because it's the furthest and fastest that Starship has ever flown.
It's just absolutely incredible. Major test milestone, something we wanted to accomplish on Flight 2, getting to it today. So just awesome.
Now, we actually have some heat shields here, so...
Esas son las losetas,
doing
mira.
all the work on Starship.
Pues no se rompieron, ¿eh?
There are 18,000 hexagonal heat shields like these. So this one that I
Esas son las
have
losetas
is
que
flat,
utilizaron.
like this is what would be positioned on the flaps of Starship, whereas Shiva has something a little different.
Yeah, the one I have would be on the curved surfaces of Starship. I'll just put it in frame here. So we've got these attached at various points around the vehicle. Like you said, Kate, 18,000 of these tiles around.
favor,
and
que alguien
they're
me
doing the
introduzca
work
un
to
poco.
make sure that the structure
Mira,
of
hay
the
uno que
vehicle
se
doesn't carry all
escapó.
that thermal load. So we can recover the vehicles eventually and get to rapid reuse on them.
They're really lightweight. They sound
Suena.
a little different than I would have expected them to, but they are ceramic.
Tienes unas afiladas,
and
Malta.
these are what's helping Starship survive through this period of entry. We're not sure
hay
how
cámaras o
far
no hay
we're gonna
cámaras.
make it. Again, this is
¿Tienes
the furthest
cámaras
that
o
we've
no?
gotten, in our test flight, but the further we fly, the more data that we can get, and that's ultimately the measure of success here, which I mean, I think today has been a huge success given where we've gone and how much further we've gotten with both the booster and Starship itself.
And one of the beautiful things about Starlink on board the vehicle, we were getting that high-speed video. High-speed video is a very high data rate, and usually video comes after you get your telemetry. So hopefully we were able to get some wonderful data throughout
Venga,
the
volver
entry
a poner
period,
la
which is
cámara,
normally something we have
vamos.
to wait for until after splashdown when we get that data off the data recorders.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned before the
Ahora creo que
flaps.
ya no se va a poder ver
The
más.
flaps are protected by the flat heat shields like I have. There are 4 of those positioned on Starship, 2 at the forward end or the top end,
Se quedó en 65.
and 2 at the
No
bottom
baja.
or aft end. And they operate independently to aerodynamically control the vehicle's attitude or positioning during atmospheric flight and enable precise landing
Ha sido
at the intended
increíble.
location. So today we are intending
Cómo
to
se
splash
calentó
down
todo y
in
la,
the
bueno, la
Indian
cámara sigue
Ocean,
funcionando.
and we're hoping that we can make it that far, but regardless, it is an exciting end to what has been an exciting day.
Absolutely. And I mean, we've had some tests in the past. We had suborbital campaigns where we have tested out the aerodynamic flaps at subsonic speeds. So that's below the speed of sound. At hypersonic speeds, well, supersonic speeds first, so faster than the speed of sound, and then hypersonic speeds. So that's more than 5 times the speed of sound. The equations of motion change, how the vehicle responds changes.
Increíble,
so
machiño.
going through that control phase where we're
Increíble.
going from faster than the speed of sound to below the speed of sound was one of the objectives today.
Yeah. And that's actually a great point because we are expecting
No hay más cámaras
that
ahora.
entry subsonic period to occur around T plus 1 hour and 3.5 minutes. So we're not there yet. We're about 10 minutes away from that point. So again, that is when Starship would be traveling slower than the speed of sound thanks to the atmospheric braking system.
Estás nerviosa, estás nerviosa. Más casi una hora.
So right now we're still waiting to see
Pero no se
if
ve
we're
nada
gonna
más.
get data back from this ship. We might be in a bit of a blackout period right now. So still waiting to hear the status on it. But yeah, we got to the actual entry portion of today. We started into peak heating, which was just a really big milestone. Starship is pretty unique in the way that it re-enters, especially for something reusable. The closest parallel has been the space shuttle. When we're comparing Starship to like when we bring a Falcon 9 booster back, we're talking about 20 times the energy given the velocity that we're moving at, and all of that energy just gets converted into heat, and then we need to use those tiles to just help dissipate that heat. They're not ablative like you would see on something like Dragon, which uses an ablative in the capsule shape. So they are these tiles that are made to be reusable. So any data we're getting on the actual temperatures it was seeing during heating, all of that is just really hugely valuable. Where Starship is really unique is, and Kate and Shiv have talked about it a couple of times, is once we're through this kind of hypersonic section and we get down to the subsonic. And that's where we really learned a lot, improved that Starship's really just its basic shape could work. And we did that during the suborbital campaign. Again, if you compare it to the shuttle, which entered, it had the wings, it had a similar heat shield system, but it had wings, and then was almost flown like a glider once it re-entered and was down to those subsonic speeds. With Starship, we're not doing that. We're just coming straight down. We'll hit terminal velocity, which with Starship is around 200 miles an hour, and then we use a flip maneuver to ignite those engines, do a landing burn, and then touch down on the ground. So you don't need a runway. We're doing that, again, designed because when we go to the moon, when we go to Mars, there's not going to be a runway there for us. And so that propulsive landing is going to be really important. This is an animation of pretty much what we were just watching on actual Starship video, which is pretty incredible. But we go through peak heating. One of the benefits of today's trajectory, actually, we got closer to what the heating profile will be on just a normal mission when you compare it to our previous flights, which were headed out to Hawaii. So we go through peak heating, and then we hit subsonic, and then Starship splashes down in the ocean. Again, we're not doing a landing burn on this flight, and we're not expecting Starship to survive the impact. We're not going to be recovering any of the hardware. For now, though, we are just still waiting to see if we're going to get some signal back. We're currently at a loss of signal with Starship. Don't know for sure what the status is, so we're just continuing to listen in. But it was pretty incredible seeing the flaps really do their thing to maneuver the vehicle as it's moving through hypersonic. One of the big trade-offs between something like shuttle and Starship is wings can be pretty heavy. And so if we can really demonstrate that Starship's controllable through that hypersonic regime when you're coming through the atmosphere, 25 times the speed of sound, you can save a whole lot of weight.
Que se ha quedado ahí,
having really big wings. So super valuable to get this data, super valuable to
Dan,
then figure out what we're going to do on our next test flights.
Dan, you'd brought up a really interesting point too, that for on shuttle, you are gliding in, going back to a runway. On Starship, because we're landing vertically, we are basically coming down, and then we've seen this during the suborbital campaign. We're not going to see it today, but during the suborbital campaign, our engines for landing burn. And that's also really important for some of our other terrestrial destinations, that we don't have as much of an atmosphere on Mars. There is pretty much no atmosphere. There's some great views from our previous test campaign of a landing burn and upright landing. But on the moon, there is no atmosphere. On Mars, the atmosphere is extremely thin, so you actually need some other sophisticated techniques that to land there. And so this vertical landing technique is really important to landing on destinations like those, which is ultimately where we're trying to go.
Yeah, absolutely. So we hope to demonstrate that landing in future missions. That wasn't one of our objectives for today. We wanted the ship to focus on opening and closing, the first demonstration of opening and closing the PEZ door, which is where we will deploy Starlink satellites from in the future, as well as gathering data on how the heat shield tiles performed during the entry period. And so far, all of that has gone really well. So overall, it's been pretty great, and it's great to see how those initial tests that we performed a couple years ago for those high altitude tests allow us to see what those will look like in the future. But this piece that we're doing today, if we are coming back from orbital velocity and we're going through that entry period, that is the missing piece, right? We already figured out how to land once the ship gets to a certain velocity or altitude, and it's really this piece that we're trying to figure out today. How do we get Starship to survive orbital velocity atmospheric entry, and
no se sabe si tocó agua.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about rapid iteration and how we do design. Part of our philosophy is testing early and often, and trying to test in a way that is as flight-like as possible. But there's only so much you can do.
Venga, no hay alguna imagen, por
where you're
Dios.
trying to simulate the atmosphere in a laboratory. So there's nothing quite like when the atmosphere in flight, to gather that wonderful data, and prove out some of the analyses, and probably teach us a bunch of things that we didn't quite get right.
For sure. And obviously, for those of you that have been watching along with us, those were incredible views to see of that entry period where we saw the heat generating because of friction as the belly of Starship was making contact with the Earth's atmosphere, and that resulted in some plasma. So as Dan said before, we believe that we're in a bit of a blackout period at the moment. We are expecting the vehicle, if it's still alive, we would be expecting the vehicle to be approaching subsonic or slower than the speed of sound speeds in 3.5 minutes from now. So if it's still up there in one piece, it still has a way to go. We're not there just yet. But we saw that plasma field building up around the exterior, which can blanket the entire vehicle, as it does with all of our Dragon missions, and for telemetry at that point in time. So
Dan's seen a lot of those with Dragon missions that he's supported.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we are hearing through some of the telemetry that we did. It did look like we lost Starlink and our
eso es lo que me está llamando la atención. No tenemos telemetría, pero es que ya llevan una hora.
Could mean we lost the ship. It has been several minutes since we've got.
Sí, habrá alguna cámara seguramente que pille.
Just a couple more minutes.
Como desciende, ¿no? Me imagino.
Additional confirmation, but that is one data point that we're tracking.
Es que eso es lo que me gustaría poder ver ahora.
That we had a loss or a breakup of the ship during that re-entry. So Might not make it all the way to splashdown today, but we were able to get through the early phases of reentry, hit some of that peak heating, which was just really incredible to see a Starship coming back from space after getting all those views from space.
Pero bueno, esto lo tengo que ver.
So we'll just keep
Porque
on
seguramente
el
final no valga.
Over the next couple of minutes.
Habrá dos vídeos seguramente. Va a haber el normal, el largo. Bueno, va a haber tres. Y después intentaré recortar esto, alguna imagen por ahí.
Pretty much every
Y
spacecraft
a ver si tenemos
splashdown.
A ver si aterriza en el agua.
We were able to get some signal through that. And
¿Dónde está Elon Musk?
we were also
No lo veo, tío.
back through Starlink.
Es rarísimo.
Live view here of mission control down at Starbase. So these are all the folks who are.
Mira, el que está arriba, el que está arriba. En la primera fila de ordenadores, el primer set no, el segundo tampoco. El tercero parece como si tuviera una cámara. No, es como si tuviera la cámara. Pero se le quedó ahí.
We don't know, as Dan said. We did lose connection with TDRS, which is the tracking and data relay satellite system, and Starlink at the same time.
Ese que está en la esquinita arriba,
a
de
realistic
negro.
possibility that we lost Starship, which
O sea,
was always
es que va un montón de negro.
We didn't know how far it was going to get.
El tercer,
the further we could fly, the more data we could collect
la tercera
was always
zona
the
de
biggest
ordenadores.
win. And so,
Me parece que
regardless
tenía.
of if we did lose the vehicle and we are not able to,
Parecía que tenía, ¿cómo se
make it all
llama?
the way to our intended
La
splashdown.
cámara, pero la cámara ya no
We weren't
funciona.
intending to recover this vehicle, either vehicle, the Super Heavy booster nor the Starship. We weren't intending to recover either of them. They were both going to basically hit at terminal velocity and break up upon contact with the surface of the ocean. So we're standing by to hear whether or not we
A ver, hay alguna información, porque yo quiero parar,
readings back, but we are
ahora sí quiero parar.
anticipating news that we lost Starship due to basically a double blackout from TDRS and Starship, or excuse me, Starship data at the same time.
But this is it's worth mentioning. This is the
Ponerle
first
la
time that we've
traducción,
been
machos.
at these speeds
Absolutely.
in any of the test flights that we've done so far.
Si ve tanta gente, debería de
We are
tener una
trying to
traducción por lo
prove
menos
out that the heat shield
en dos idiomas
works
más.
as intended, that
Ya,
the
sí,
controllability at the
ya
hypersonic
está.
speeds works as intended. So if we were able to get back any data on that, that means the next version, what happens on flight 4, 5, 6, is going to be better.
We must be able to get some because we saw incredibly gorgeous high definition views of that entry period whenever it was initially starting. So we must have gotten some data
today
there.
has been otherwise a phenomenal day.
Incredible.
Liftoff on time, full ignition of all of the boosters, engines, successful hot staging, and then ship took it from there.
Yeah, absolutely. We were able to see the ship
Ahí nos
actually
quedamos.
make it further, as well as
Ahí
the
nos
booster.
quedamos.
We were hoping that the booster would perform a soft water landing, but we lost it during just before it was able to ignite the landing burn. But the ship continued on. We saw all six Raptor engines on the ship ignite and then shut down for second engine cutoff. And we saw some amazing views as well, and it's just been certainly a day.
Me parece que no va a haber, ahora no se va a ver.
And using them as my computer desktop background for, well, until the next Starship launch.
When we get even better views, I'm sure.
Exactly.
And we also hit a number of our other ambitious test objectives.
No sé si se va a ver la imagen de la caída.
At least initiate the commands for a propellant transfer demo within the vehicle. This is something that Starship's going to have to do in the future, and these sort of transfers haven't been done at this scale before, so that's a first as well. We also were able to demonstrate that the payload door functions.
And we got to see that,
Yeah, and so those commands were sent. Again, data review to come and make sure that everything performed as expected, but that's going to be critical to deploying payloads in the future once Starship becomes operational. So a number of test objectives hit, much more accomplished than Flight 2, and making steady progress towards a fully, rapidly reusable, reliable Starship.
Absolutely.
Deberían de quedar 5 minutos para que toque el agua.
And hey, Kate, and hey, Shiva, we were just hearing on the loops, we are making the call now that we have lost Ship 28. So, as we were
Puedes escucharlos a ellos, pero
we lost the data a
total,
couple of minutes ago. We haven't heard from the ship. up until this point, and so the team has made the call that ship has been lost.
Qué
So no
contentos están.
splashdown today, but
Qué
again,
contentísimos
it's
estáis.
incredible to see how
Y lo
much
habéis
further
hecho.
we got this time
Sois
around.
unos cabras.
We had a couple
Y
of
lo
those
habéis
ambitious
hecho.
objectives that you guys were just walking through
Vale, esto todo
that we're
paja,
able to take
Pavos.
advantage of while
Lo pondré
Starship was
recortado,
in
lo
outer
subiré
space
2 veces
flying
y lo recorto.
over our
Porque
planet
esto es
for the
paja.
very first
Para
time.
los que
So
no
that was
sabemos inglés.
just really incredible. Obviously, there's a lot to go through. Everyone always wants to know right off the bat what happened. Takes us a little bit of time, but I can assure you as soon as we start finding things
Lleva
out,
1 hora y
we'll let
media,
everybody
desde que lo
know.
lanzaron.
And I know everybody's
Bueno,
going to be
desde
excited,
que
excited for the
comentamos
next
este
one.
directo.
I mean, as I pointed out in the beginning, there's 4 super heavy boosters either fully stacked or getting stacked right behind me. We've got other ships ready to go as well. So it's going to be a really busy time down here at Starbase as we look to really fly Starship as much as possible, get this vehicle ready to go for all the important things it's got to go do.
And with that, we got to say a
¡Hey!
huge congratulations
Quitaron
to our
el...
teammates and everyone who's supported the Starship program. There's been flames and reds along the way.
Pues
but
entonces
third
tocó
time's the
agua.
charm
Tocó
when we made it to
agua.
space. We also a big thanks to all of
Tocó
our future
agua.
customers for your support. And we want to give a big thanks to the people of Cameron County, Texas, for their support, as well as the Coast Guard and the Federal Aviation Administration.
No, es que ya no tenemos...
Be sure to follow the
Ya no
SpaceX
tenemos, ¿cómo
account
se
on
llama?
X for more updates from today's test flight and
Ya no
future
hay
Starship
contador. A
tests.
ver, déjame...
But before we go, we want to wish SpaceX a very happy birthday.
Hostia.
The company was founded on this day
¿Y estas
in
imágenes?
2002
Buah,
when
chaval.
it basically consisted of this small team, a carpet and a mariachi band. I don't know about you, but we're feeling 22. Also, it's Pi Day.
Whoa. Qué imagen, macho.
Yeah, but I mean, Pi Day is constant and never ending, so isn't, you know, should every day be Pi Day from now on?
I mean, that's a really good point, and I think after a test like today's, we all deserve some pie.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
¡Oh! ¡Increíble, chicos! ¡Increíble! ¡No me lo creo! ¡Buah, chaval! ¡Lo habéis conseguido! Vamos a poner... Bueno, increíble. Pues nada, chicos, espero que os haya gustado. Starship, lo habéis conseguido. SpaceX, lo habéis conseguido. Me cago en la, chaval, me cago en la. Increíble. Así que nada, ya voy a cortar por aquí por Kik. Eso es. Y nada, espero que os haya gustado este directo. Lo han conseguido. ¡Lo han conseguido! Venga, chicos, yo me voy a descansar que me hace falta. Venga, nos vemos. Besitos y hasta luego. Chao, chao.